ആകാശവാണി വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രംഗം.
വിജയവാണി SSLC പരീക്ഷാ സഹായി. 10ാം ക്ലാസ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് 3ാമത്തെ ടേമിനെ ആസ്പദമാക്കിയുള്ള ക്ലാസ് കേൾക്കാം. അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് വെള്ളനാട് ജി കാർത്തികേയൻ സ്മാരക ഗവൺമെന്റ് വൊക്കേഷണൽ ആൻഡ് ഹയർ സെക്കൻഡറി സ്കൂൾ അധ്യാപിക ശ്രീജ ദേവി എ.
Dears, warm greeting from me. Today, we are going to go deep into the last unit in 10th Standard English textbook. The title of the unit is Songs of the Self. There are 3 literary pieces included in the unit. They are Beloved Bolas, a story by Maxim Gorky, a Russian writer; Preference Nationale, a story by Fatou Diom, an Afro-French writer; and a poem Mirror by Sylvia Plath, an American writer. All these 3 literary pieces tell us about the human need for love and care and the importance of loving oneself. Let us take the first story, Beloved Bolas by Maxim Gorky. It is written almost 100 years ago. We meet 2 main characters in the story. They are Teresa and Mr. Student. The story tells the events in an autobiographical mode, that is, in the first-person narrative. The I in the story is Mr. Student. He narrates one of his experiences when he was a student in Moscow. He tells us about a lady named Teresa who lived in an apartment opposite to his room. She was tall and strong with a rough face and thick bass voice. Mr. Student says that she is not like a girl or a lady and not at all like a little dove. Really, Mr. Student was afraid of Teresa, so he always avoided her. But one day, she came into his room and asked him to help her with writing a letter to her lover named Bolas. The student wrote what she dictated. After 2 weeks, Teresa came again with another request. That time also, it was to write a letter. She asked Mr. Student to write a letter as though it was written by Bolas to Teresa. Mr. Student got angry and told Teresa that she was telling a pack of lies. Teresa went away in a very unpleasant mood. Mr. Student also felt embarrassed. He decided to go and meet Teresa in her apartment. He questioned her about Bolas and letters. Finally, Teresa accepted that there was no Bolas and no lover for her. There was no one to love her or care her. So she invented an imaginary lover. She wrote letters to him and wrote his reply herself. She told him that when she read these letters, she felt that there was someone to love her and care for her. Mr. Student realized the pathetic condition of Teresa. He felt pity for her. So, he wrote that letter as though Bolas was writing. He continued to write letters for her and to her. As a return, Teresa stitched the holes in his clothes. This continued till Teresa was imprisoned for some reason. Maxim Gorky ends the story saying that we are unaware of others' mental status. We see others through our own conditions and situations. We are not a bit bothered to understand other people's need for love and care. As I told, it was written almost 100 years ago, but still the condition is same. We are bent low in our smartphones and connected to people far away through social media. But we are not connected to the people who are near us and do not try to love or understand them. So, the story has contemporary relevance even after 100 years. Now, let's see what discourses can be asked from the story Beloved Bolus. Character sketch of Teresa and Mr. Student, diary by Teresa and Mr. Student, letter narrating the events by both of them, conversation, etc. can be asked. Again, there may be at least chance for a newspaper report on the imprisonment of Teresa. If you know the events in the story, you can prepare any discourse asked from it. So, read the story many times and understand the core theme we have discussed just now. Now, let's go to the second story in the unit. It's by an Afro-French contemporary writer, Fatou Diom. She is a Senegalese by birth. The title of the story is Préférence nationale. It's a French title. In English, we say national preference. We need to know some history if we want to understand the story. The history goes like this. Senegal is a West African country which was under the French rule for several years. Senegal got freedom from France in 1960. Now, Senegal is an independent sovereign nation. But still, the official language of Senegal is French. The attitude of French people towards Senegalese is not friendly. They treat people from Senegal as inferior to Europeans. They cannot consider African people equal to them. There exists discrimination, racial and color discriminations in France. In the light of this history only, we can understand what Fatou Diom is focusing on through her story. Now, let's analyze the story Préférence nationale. Fatou Diom is writing about the discrimination being faced by Senegalese in France. The story is in first-person narrative. The lady in the story is a Senegalese and was married to a Frenchman. But she hasn't got French citizenship. It is because France has changed its law related to citizenship. Only after 2 years of marriage, the foreign partner can apply for French citizenship. Diom says that 2 years are to allow the French person to break up with his or her foreign partner. Diom describes 2 incidents to show the extremity of this national preference. The lady in the story is living in France. She is a degree holder in French literature, but her degree has no value just because she is an African. The lady is looking for a job for her living. She applies for the post of a salesgirl in a bakery. She appears for the interview, but the boss of the bakery rejects her, saying that she couldn't speak Alsatian accent. On top of the rejection, he humiliates her, saying, "Why don't you go and work in your own country?" The second incident happens when she meets a French lady who is a cashier in a supermarket. The cashier lady wants a tutor to teach her 11-year-old daughter French literature. But when the cashier lady finds that this lady is an African, she says she wants a European type person. What's more humiliating is her add-on. "I don't want anyone messing up my child's education." The national pride does not allow the French lady to trust an African, even though the African lady holds a degree certificate. The last words by the French lady are, "Go back to a jungle." The words show what Europeans think about Africa. Fatou Diom says that it is the small-scale employers who make the law of national preference effective by rejecting African employees. The takeaway from this story is this. We say that the world has shrunken into a global village. Everywhere is the home for everyone. But really, we are far apart with racism and nationalism. Now, let's look at the story from exam point of view. For any question from the story, you have to write the following points. The racial and national discrimination the lady suffers from French people. It affects her self-worth and sense of identity. French people, from the top authorities to the locals, Make the policy of national preference effective. Find place for these 3 points in your answers. Write-up is the most important one that can be asked, but as a rule, any discourse ranging from diary and conversation to character sketch, newspaper report and narration can be asked from this story too. There is one more literary piece in that unit, a poem, Mirror, written by Sylvia Plath. Mirror itself is the speaker of the poem. It says that it has no prejudgments. It says that it is the eye of a little God. It compares itself to God because, like God, it also has no partiality, no emotions, no prejudice, and no likes and dislikes. In the second stanza, Mirror says that it's a lake. The mirror compares itself with a lake because in it a young lady has drowned and an old lady is emerging out of it. The indication here is the aging of a girl. A young girl looks at the mirror and meditates on her reflection every day. The mirror shows her the real reflection. Nothing added, nothing subtracted. But the girl is not satisfied with her true identity. She wants more beauty. So she turns to moon and candles, which give her the ambient light to add to her beauty. But reality cannot be hidden for far. Day by day, the young girl drowns in the depth of the mirror, and an old lady slowly rises up like a terrible fish. The poet tries to convey the truth of the life. As years pass, we get aged. It's reality. We should accept it. The poet Sylvia Plath uses heavy poetic devices to make her poem more beautiful and attractive. The poetic devices like personification, metaphor, simile, imagery, symbolism, etc. can be seen in the poem. Mirror is personified throughout the poem. Human qualities are attributed to the mirror. It speaks like a human being. The mirror says that it's a lake. Here the poet uses metaphor. In the poem, mirror is a symbol of truth and unbiased reflection. The moon and candles are the symbol of illusion. The poem abounds with imagery. To pick a few, the opposite wall pink with speckles, a woman bends over the lake. When we look at the poem from the exam point of view, we know that 2 types of questions can be asked. One type is the comprehension questions. 1 or 2 stanzas from the poem is given and 4 or 5 questions can be asked. To answer these questions, you have to know the meanings, both literal and symbolic meanings of lines and phrases and the poetic devices used in the lines. So, be aware of the things we have elaborated just now. The next type of question is appreciation. In the new question pattern, appreciation can be asked in 2 different ways. One is simply asking to write an appreciation of the poem, giving emphasis to the theme and poetic devices used. The other type is to compare and contrast the poem with another poem with similar or opposite theme. 2 poems are given in the question paper. You are asked to write a note of appreciation, comparing and contrasting the 2 poems. So, understand this poem well by reading it several times and reflecting upon the theme, poetic device, tone, etc. Then it will be easier for you to compare and contrast it with another poem. Now that we have discussed all the 3 literary pieces in the last unit, it is time for me to say goodbye to you all.
10ാം ക്ലാസ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് 3ാമത്തെ ടേമിനെ ആസ്പദമാക്കിയുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സാണ് കൂട്ടുകാർ ഇതുവരെ കേട്ടത്. അവതരിപ്പിച്ചത് വെള്ളനാട് ജി കാർത്തികേയൻ സ്മാരക ഗവൺമെന്റ് വൊക്കേഷണൽ ആൻഡ് ഹയർ സെക്കൻഡറി സ്കൂൾ അധ്യാപിക ശ്രീജ ദേവി എ. വിജയവാണി SSLC പരീക്ഷാ സഹായി.
വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രംഗം സമാപിച്ചു.